Konnichiwa, minasan! Welcome back to another Japanese lesson from some guy. In this lesson, we're going to learn an absolutely vital skill for speaking Japanese, and that is conjugating verbs to the mas form. In order to do that, we must first find our verb's mas stem. The mas stem just refers to the part of the verb before mas, like shi in shimasu, tabe in食べます, or nomi in 飲みます. How we find the mas stem depends on the verb's type. In Japanese, there are three kinds of verbs creatively known as type 1, type 2, and type 3 verbs. Almost all verbs fall into either the type 1 or type 2 category, with only two irregular verbs making up the type 3 verbs. So let's start learning how to conjugate to the mas form with type 1 verbs first. The dictionary form of a type 1 verb will end in one of the characters from the u column in our hiragana chart. Please note that no verb will ever end in u. Let's look at some examples.
買う
To buy,
歩く
to walk,
話す
to speak,
立つ
to stand,
死ぬ
to die,
飛ぶ
to fly or jump,
飲む
to drink,
切る
to cut. Conjugating type 1 verbs to the mas form can be done in just two easy steps. First, the last character of the verb needs to change to its corresponding character in the e column of our hiragana chart. Then, all we do is add mas and we're done. Let's do one together. First, we'll look at the verb nomu. We can see that the last character is mu. We can find mu in the u column of our hiragana chart. If we go straight over to the e column, we can see that mu's corresponding e character is mi. So we change mu to mi and add mas to get yomimasu. Let's try another one. This time we will use the verb aruku. The last character is ku. Looking at our hiragana chart, we can see that if we go straight over from ku to the e column, that the e equivalent of ku is ki. We change ku to ki and add mas to get arukimasu. Now let's look at type 2 verbs. All type 2 verbs will end in ru and will be preceded by a character from either the e or e column of the hiragana chart. Here are some examples.
食べる
To eat,
考える
to think,
できる
to be able. Conjugating type 2 verbs to the mas form is much easier than type 1 verbs. All we need to do is drop the final ru character and add mas. Let's look at some examples.
食べる食べ食べます考える考え考えますできるできできます
Finally, let's look at type 3 verbs. These verbs are irregular, and there are only two. Suru, the verb for to do, and kuru, the verb for to come. These verbs do not follow normal conjugation rules, so you will just have to remember them. Let's look at their mas form conjugations.
するしします来るき来ます
Please note how the pronunciation of the kanji character changes from ku in the dictionary form to ki in the mas form. That's going to do it for this lesson. Let's go over what we just learned. Type 1 verbs in their dictionary form will always end in a character from the U column in the hiragana chart. Type 2 verbs will only ever end with ru. Type 2 verbs will have the final ru character preceded by a character from either the I or E column of the hiragana chart. The two type 3 verbs are suru and kuru. Be sure to check the supplementary files for some practice exercises. Mata ne!